Hello everyone. So today I thought I'll probably show you something really useful, and that is the whole idea of my channel. I want to share useful things with all of you. Now, a couple of times in the past I have mentioned that I use Emacs client, and the purpose of using Emacs client is that let us say I have this Emacs which is running, and I use Emacs. I always used Emacs in the terminal, but recently, in fact, I think a couple of months back, I started using Emacs in the UI version of, GUI version of Emacs, which is something that I did because I do have images in my org files, which I have started using in fact a bit more than usual. And when you're using Emacs in the GUI version, then it is convenient because it will show up all those images nicely, like inline images. Now, one thing is that within Emacs you can have buffers, like I can create this vertical split, or maybe I can create this split which is horizontal. I can resize these different buffers either using the mouse or using the command. This actually works really well, but the thing is that sometimes when you're working with multiple buffers, like right now, of course, I have this laptop where I'm doing this recording using FFmpeg, and at the same time this main screen which I'm showing you right now. I have two screens, and I can also because I use TWM, I can move to a different tag, like Alt 3, 4, 5, whatever, because on top you have these numbers, these tags. Right now I am on tag number 2, where I have these windows. Now the thing is that sometimes I also need to have maybe a separate window of Emacs altogether. For example, if I want to maybe start Emacs again, definitely you can have one more Emacs window, but because usually we people who love working on Emacs, we have our own customized version of Emacs with a lot of packages and our own key bindings. We want to basically preserve it, and if I want to connect, because you can actually make your Emacs as a server, and you can actually connect to it. So if I type in here Emacs client, and if I maybe want to create a file called test dot, let us do it in the temp directory, test.txt. So this is of course my Emacs. I can do whatever I want. I can maybe insert, this is my title. This looks good. There is nothing wrong with this. I can also insert my my code blocks. So all this is fine, but the problem is that in the terminal you do miss few things, like all the colors and syntax highlighting. It works but not perfectly, and there is a way to, of course, connect to the server and at the same time still preserve the GUI version of Emacs, and that is actually very easy. If you cancel this, let me not save the file. No, I don't really want to save it. So instead of NW, just use -c, and that is it. And now you have your Emacs, which is right now running, and it is of course the GUI version of this. And now you can see that it looks exactly like the window that I was previously using. It will basically preserve all the things for you, and it is of course much more convenient than using the terminal version. Terminal there is nothing wrong with the terminal, but just to have the consistency of your configuration. So you can also do this using your DWM, or not DWM, but you can do Emacs client -c, and it will of course open this Emacs, blank window of Emacs, but your terminal is still running, so you can actually not do it. And instead of doing this from the terminal, you can also do this from D menu. So just go to D menu on top and type in Emacs client -c, and it will now launch Emacs. And what you can also do, and there is no terminal window which is waiting for you to close the Emacs client. And right now, of course, this is something that I launched from the D menu. Right now it is the scratch buffer, but you can also this is your own window, but if you want to open a specific file, you can do that. And at the same time, you can also use your own shortcut if you're using SXH. No, I keep I always struggle pronouncing it, so let me just do it one more time. So if I type in here SXHKBRC, so basically this particular application is something that this particular utility is something that I use for managing my shortcuts. For example, right now my Emacs, which I open, is using this Super Shift E, which is Windows Shift E, and instead of launching Emacs directly, I basically launch this or run this shell script, which is something that is going to set the home variable to my Dropbox. I don't really use Dropbox for anything else. I just use it for my Emacs, which I am hoping to not use because I use SyncThing for everything now, for syncing my files. So the main purpose of using this Emacs portable shell script is because I want to have my own custom home directory for my Emacs only. That is it. But what I was trying to say is that you can also insert one more entry here to launch your Emacs client with the -c option here, so that it will basically connect to your server. And because it is going to be a shell script, you can also add a check here that if the Emacs server is not running, then maybe just launch Emacs. Otherwise, connect to the server, because if your Emacs is not, if your Emacs server is not running, then this is of course not really going to work. And I thought I'll probably share these simple things with all of you today. The main thing that I wanted to show you was this thing called Emacs client -c option, so that you can actually open Emacs client in the GUI version of it. And that is all. That is all I wanted to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.